Hi everybody, it's Biba Pedron for the new interview this week for the Let's Connect show. And if you don't know the show, it's actually every week I'm interviewing an expert in order for you to meet my network. I network a lot. I used to be called the Connection Queen when I was in New York organizing networking events. Now we can't really go to networking events, but I still continue to network. And today we are really here for a treat because my guest is Raymon Ray, and he's in-demand global speaker, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, best-selling author, and events producer and host. He's the founder of Smart Hustle Media, which inspires and educates small business owners. He shared the stage with Seth Godin, Daymond John, Kawasaki, Sinek, Gary Vaynerchuk. I never know how to say his name. I know people call him Gary V or something like that. And he has the privilege to interview President Obama. So his last book's called Celebrity CEO, and it's book number 4, and it's about building a community and personal branding. So hi, Ray, how are you?
Biba, thanks for having me. I am fantastic, and it's good to be here. And hello to your U.S. audience and your European audience.
European audience, because everybody will see it. And actually, Ray and I know each other. We were just talking about just before we went on air for 17 years now. When I moved to New York for the very first time, and I saw you, you were at my events. I went to your events, and I remember that was the very beginning when you started organizing the big events. I remember that.
Sounds about right. Yeah, but I think the one I had in 2006. Small Business Summit. So within that time frame, for sure. And I was doing events at Samsung Center. I don't know if you were there, but we've had some good times together, and many more to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as I say, you help people to grow their business. You help them through building their business and building personal branding. And I love that because that's one of my main topic with mindset, personal branding, because it's very, very important, especially now. When we met like 17 years ago, we didn't have social media. We didn't have all that kind of things. Now there's a lot of noise on internet and on social media. So it's very difficult for people to be more unique than we used to. So what would you say to somebody who either start a business or want to, or have a business since a while, but don't have the result that they are expecting, especially right now with what's happening in the world, but they want to make a difference. They want people to see them. I remember when I was in New York at the time, people say, what are you doing, Biba? We can see you everywhere. And we didn't even have social media, but it was everywhere on live, at the events and live, just the website, the small internet that we had at the time. So if people want to be seen everywhere today, what would you suggest?
Yeah, great point. And I think you're right. Back in the day, as it were, I know when I was starting Biba, there was an email newsletter, and I still have an email newsletter to today, which is still good. YouTube was, video was still there to a degree, SEO and websites. That's pretty much it. And, you just hustled your way and did a lot of in-person. I think today, Biba, you're right. There's so much noise. Everybody is talking. You and I have a show. You have a show. We all have shows. Who knows?
Absolutely.
And I think point 3, to ask oneself the question, and I get your question, but I would step back and ask, do I need to be everywhere? I don't know. I am. Biba is.
I am.
But I would ask the person, do I need to be? Meaning, can you be okay with 3 clients paying you $2,000 a month?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Having said that, though, for me, I know, yes, indeed. My model, as you know, Biba, the celebrity CEO model is have an inordinate, is the English word, amount of content. A lot of content that you're sharing with your tribe to build, Biba, the fan base.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once you build a fan base, then you can draw people to you. And the last point I'll say, I always often say, Biba, ask for a smile before you ask for a sale. Thank you. Because if I ask Biba for $1 or $10 or whatever it is, it's a little harder. Well, I don't know. Maybe who are you again? But if I just say, hey, can I shake your hand? Mr. Rogers, be my friend. There you go. Thank you. Biba's going to do it. So is that helpful, Biba? Those are a few things I would say on that question of being everywhere, and also being everywhere, Biba, to the right people. You don't just want to be everywhere to everybody in France. It may not be, but maybe there's everybody in a small town that needs a certain particular type of cheese or wine or whatever it may be.
So since you specialize also in brand and branding, why would you say that it's so important to have an efficient brand?
Yeah, I think when we think about, so I asked my daughter yesterday, my daughter's Charity, I said, Charity, what do you think about Mercedes-Benz brand versus Honda? Simple brands. She knew immediately. She's not a car person, but over the years, she couldn't even tell me why Mercedes is a premium brand. So I think brand's important. Take me and Biba, right? Two different people, different visuals, different looks, different things we're doing, but Biba has her brand. She can't help it. That's just whoever she is, how she talks, who she serves, that's her brand. Same with me. Fast talking, shaved head guy. So my point is, the reason why it's important, people feel comfortable identifying us. If I go to China and I see the Starbucks logo, it's probably going to be different in China, but I can get a sense. I feel safe. It's Starbucks. So that's kind of, and so with me, Biba, using myself as an example, everybody listening to me doesn't know me. Good. I'm happy to meet new people. But you and those who know me, the Raymon Ray, it has a brand. Oh, fast paced. It's going to be fun, short, to the point. That's his events. Come on down. So that's
and we remember the people, because actually we haven't seen each other since a while, except that we saw each other like 2 months ago in a virtual event.
Yes.
And that's how we reconnected. And then immediately, it's like we left like few months ago, even if we haven't seen each other for years. Right. But when the people, when you're very confident in what they do and how they do it, I had no issue to connect with you and say, would you like to be on my show? I don't have to bring the approach that I bring to other people that I don't even know.
That's right. And vice versa, right? Meaning other people who would have asked, I think I'm a nice guy. I think I am. But remind me, who are you again? Can you send me the link? Let me see the show, blah, 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 blah. Biba, that's brand in our small world. Biba Pedron. Yes.
Yeah.
She could have said, Ramon, could you help me mop my floor? I would have said yes, too. So, whatever the question is.
So with what's happening for the past year, for at least 10 months all over the world, how do you help your clients to stay in business? Because a lot of people, we know that restaurant, I know in the US, I'm in France, but I know in the US is the same. A lot of the restaurants are closed and a lot of companies are closed. A lot of companies are going down. What do you suggest to your clients right now, since a year, to do in order to stay in business and to continue to grow?
Yeah, I think there's three things, Biba, and I think there's three types of problems. Some, as you know, all over the world, are out of business. So short of a miracle, there's absolutely nothing you can do. Your business closed. You're in a place where they said no customers can come in. You can't deliver, making it up. Let's say delivery is impossible because of whatever. There's nothing to do, Biba, except go back to your mother's house, get government aid, become a painter. And I say this respectfully. I know people, this is a serious thing, but you just have to change and reinvent yourself, which is another show for Biba to do. You can ask Biba about that.
Actually, that would be my next question. But first, how to sell the business, and then we'll see how to adapt.
So either A, reinvent yourself, or B, eke along. You're going to eke along with what you're doing, and hopefully in a year or so, things start to pick up. Or I must say I'm blessed, thank God for that your business is doing okay. So to answer your question, Biba, I think to how to stay in business, assuming you can, be very, very close to your customers. I think those who had a distance from their customers pre-COVID, notwithstanding what I said about it, life is life if you have to go out, but if you even had a chance, it's tough for Biba. You weren't paying attention to your customers. Biba bought 10 red cups. You didn't send her a thank you card? Didn't say you had no campaign to bring her back? And now COVID hit? Biba doesn't even know you. She clicked and bought 10 red cups from somebody else, if you understand my silly metaphor there,
So, and how did you adapt to business? Because you do a lot of live events. So I guess like everybody, you can't do the live events. So you switched to internet and to video conference. But how did you adapt your business very quickly in order to make sure that you stay in business and you stay in contact with all of your clients?
Yeah. I think two things happened to me, Biba. One half of my business are the very small business owners that I serve and support. They can, a lot of the content we produce for free at smarthustle.com and other online. I'm all over the internet. People can just look. So that's one community. The other community I have that pays me quite a bit is the large brands. So I used my own playbook, Biba. I'm pretty close to these about 550 brands in my database. They all know, like, and trust me. Or maybe John Jant's duct tape marketing. So they already know, like, and trust Ramon. That's one thing that I had going for me pre-COVID. Second thing, I took it upon myself, and I remember people, I prayed about this because on March 13th, the world stopped for all of us, meaning some people earlier, but for me, for us creative people, South by Southwest was my benchmark. Those who don't know, the big event in Austin, Texas, biggest events in the world. So the point is, when that stopped, I had to immediately go into, I was worried, Biba. I was fearful. I panicked. I was scared and nervous. But then I had to kind of, okay, Ramon, what are you going to do? So that's where I thought of my Survive and Thrive event. We've had thousands of people attend it. And that was what I couldn't do in person, but I was able to give a solution to my clients who needed also help. So in a long way, two things: one, being close to them, and two, quickly being able to offer them a solution to their need as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the same for me. When we were confined the first time in France on March 17, and on March 19, I was supposed to do an event in Paris, a one-day event in Paris. So I called everybody and I said, okay, let's do Zoom, and that's it. But then, for at least a week or 10 days, I said, okay, how I'm doing the business, because in France, I don't do a lot of public speaking in the US yet. I say yet. I hope that when we come back and when it's coming back. But at least in France, usually I used to go back and forth. And when I'm in France, I'm on stage all the time. So I said, what do I do? But I noticed, I don't know if you have the same thing, but I noticed that a lot of people, and I work mainly with solo entrepreneur. I don't work with a big brand, but even the big brands, some of them, they kind of scared to work virtually. Like they're still speakers. I spoke with a lot of speakers. They kind of lost their business because they were not able to adapt and to start speaking on virtually. So how would you help them? How would you say, because people say, well, I'm afraid to be in front of camera. And I say, that's surprise. When you say that, when you're on stage as a speaker, and you're a keynote speaker. So as a speaker, you're on stage in front of people, and now you're scared to be in front of your computer. So how would you help somebody like that?
Yeah, it is hard. And I think that, those speakers who are nervous about it, possibly, I would say, really get a coach. That's one thing, because part of it's just mindset to get out of that. Two, I think you have to learn to adapt. Right now, let's say where we're at, real life example. So Biba is about 3 inches below my eye line. So I see her peripherally. But I'm looking at the camera. So part of that, Biba, is the discipline. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Biba Pedron Get Back to Business Summit. My name is Raymon Ray. I have to look just
right here, not at the person. Yeah,
that's correct.
Which is not easy. Which is not easy. Yeah. And
that's a small tip, especially for new speakers. A, get a coach who can help build your confidence. Two, it's training. It's training. Biba's going to have a call afterwards. Joey, you didn't look at the camera lens half the time. Do it again, and you'll do it better. So it's tough. I know this virtual world is not easy for many people, but I think those of us that have embraced it, there's good money to be made. And I would encourage people, sometimes we have to get over ourselves. We have to get over our imperfections. We just have to do it.
Cool. So now can you tell us more about your new book?
Sure. Thank you for asking me. Bottom line, listen, Biba, as we've touched on, I'm a firm believer in the power of building community, a firm believer in the power of building a fan base. If you just have one client, that's good, but they're one, and that's all you have. But if you have a community, a fan base, they're not customers yet, but you can nurture them to buying from you. So this is what Celebrity CEO, and people can just go to Google Celebrity CEO or celebrityceo.com. It's on Amazon.
That's easy.
But the principles are most important, is that this aspect of build community. So how do you build community? A few high-level things, Biba, I talk about having events, having a lot of social media. And it's not just social media, but it's educating people. 3, having a book out is important. 4, being interviewed is important. 5, I'm a firm believer, Biba, in having good imagery. This is important as well. If you look at now I do a lot of silly stuff online, selfie stuff, but for events and things like that, how does that look? Does that look legit, just like your competitors? So those are a few things, Biba, I find that you do them over and over, but the main thing is you're adding value on a regular basis. People can't help take notice of you, right? Biba did this, and she said she's starting it up again, but Biba did this 17 years ago, showing up. You're seen as we call it in the U.S. big dog. You're seen as the big kahuna.
I used to be. I have to come back as a big dog. I used to be. At least when I was a big dog. But
you just have to showcase it. That's all.
It's just now I'm a big dog in the French market, and I have to be back a big dog in the U.S. market.
I love it. Exactly.
So you were mentioning the book. So how does that help to have a book? I just published my book number 6 in French, and I hope there's no time to translate it. It will be soon in English. But how does that help? How does that help people to put the foot in the door?
Yeah, no, for sure. So a few things. I think that a book is a credibility weapon. Mm-hmm. Now, let's face it, admit, and I would suggest people Google, Seth Godin has 2 large blog posts he's done for authors. Really good. But point being is that, what was I saying? Yes, is that a book is one, it's credibility.
Yeah.
2, a book authenticity. 3, all things being equal. There's me they're considering and Biba they're considering. Besides, she has a beautiful smile and all these things. But all things being equal, she has a book. I don't. Well, Biba wrote the book about, how to hail taxis in France. I know, Ramon, you said you know how to do it too, but she wrote the book. We're going to hire her. So those are a few things. And it's also a reason to have a conversation. So let's say I want Biba to interview me. We happen to be friends and we know each other, so that's different. But if I say, hey, Miss Pedron or Madame Pedron, I have a book out on XYZ. This is a hook. And, oh, you know what? Let's talk about the insights in the book. So those are some reasons, Biba, I think a book is good. And it's not going to make you tons of money. None of us are Tom Clancy or some famous person. But it's, hey, listen, right? It's that thing we can hold up and touch and say, this is mine. So it's kind of like you can either have your business card. I'll show off here a bit. I'm very proud of these.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Everybody
can
has.
We play with it?
Yeah, you can. Or you can have a book. So those are some reasons, people, why I say books are important to have 1, 2, 3, for sure.
I remember when I published my first book, it was in 2006 in New York. It's called Start Children Business Today. I always say that a book is just a big business card. But then I learned, because I saw that it took me like 3 months to write the book, and I thought it was the biggest work. And then I realized the biggest work is to promote the book, but then it's not enough. So a lot of people, especially now, because it's even easier. Now you have Amazon, you can self-publish on Amazon, which means that everybody can write a book.
Right.
But very few people know how to turn a business around the book. Right. So
that's right. No, you're so true on that, and I think that's the problem. And again, it's like you said, if those are looking to do it to make a lot of money or whatever, for most people that won't happen. But if you think about it, you did the book and it got you on a podcast. You did the book, it got you interviewed on a local radio station. That's where the book's money. So even though you'll say I made no sales or little sales, well, you were just on the local radio station. From the radio station, over time, you got 2 or 3 clients, and you keep doing that and doing that and doing that. Another thing I'll say. Please, those of you doing books, take the time to have the visual, the graphic look as best as you can. And I would even dare say, try not to do it yourself unless you're a graphics person. But if you're not, you can smell cheap. Yeah. And we've all been there. I've done stuff myself. And it looks like it. There's very few times if you're not a graphic professional, they just have something in them. Even if you use Canva, it just looks legit. It looks first class. You can tell it when it's like, Ramon probably did that himself in Microsoft Word. You can tell.
Yeah, you get it. So some people, as a coach, it's easy for us because we sell our coaching. But would you have any other example of how you have a book and then you turn the business around the book to sell any services?
Sure. Well, again, I mean, I think that, yes, you can focus on the book. And I think if it's a powerful book, if you have big launch, and if you have a community already, for sure, the book itself can sell. Yeah, but for me, I think the book can be a good calling card. For example, even, hey, if you sign up for my coaching, I'll give the book to you for free. Yeah. Or in the book are resources back to things which help you build your funnel, which may help you sell coaching. So I think that's kind of, or also you can refer to the book. I'm going to use a different book here because I'm not trying to sell myself here, but
you can.
No. I'll take another book. I don't mind sharing.
I want people to have resources, so they need to.
I appreciate it, but I'll pick another one just because I don't, but I want some people listening, oh, he's all about himself. So Guy Raz, the NPR host of How I Built It. If this was his book, he could say things like, hey, on page 3, I talk about XYZ. Go to my website and type in page 3. So if that makes sense, the book then becomes a tool, a curriculum, a guide. What's a book? $19, $16, $30. It's not a lot of money. But you're using it as a hook to get people further into the Biba or the Ramon funnel. That's kind of how I would use that.
And in the US, a lot of people use the book as free, offer the book for free in order to sell something behind.
Correct. Correct.
So
I think it can be done. I think it's good, especially as part of a campaign, maybe get a free chapter. But I think there's something nice about having a line of 10 people, 20 people, 100 people buying that book. Because if they're not going to spend $20 on your book, they probably are not going to spend $2,000 on your coaching.
Well, I got lucky. I got from a 20-euro book to a 20,000 coaching. So I got lucky. But it's also because of the brand, because it's not just because a lot of, I notice a lot of people come also and nobody know who they are. They don't have any visibility, and they have the feeling that just having the book will be enough. Well, you need to still build your brand. And then because you have a brand and because people know you, that's the reason why they will buy the book. Because if they don't know you, there's few chance that they buy the book. Correct.
That's very true. Very, absolutely true. And that book can be a conversation starter to get people to start to know you in one shape or form, to open the doors for sure. But I think it also, Biba, I think it does go hand in hand. A book in a vacuum can work, but for most of us, Biba has a following of thousands. Her book comes out. She shares that book with her following, and the circle continues. Because out of the thousands of people, everybody's not a client. Nobody spent money yet. People haven't engaged. So the book gives them another, hey, let me check out Biba again.
So we just turned a new year, and so what are your goals for this New Year's? With knowing what's happening in the world, so we still don't know if we need like 3 months, 6 months, or another year to come back to a normal world. So what are your goals, and how would you suggest people to make sure that they don't go down and they still think positive?
Yeah, I think one thing that's been really helpful for me as a business, Biba, is the aspect of leadership. There's the tactical side of business, our money, our money and finances, our marketing, retargeting, email newsletter. But Biba, I've really invested in the past 6 months, or actually longer, year or two, into being a better leader. And one example of that, I'll pull another resource. I think I showed this already. I can't remember. But Jim Collins' Flywheel, Turning the Flywheel. It's a monograph. And it's a simple concept. He has some drawings in here. It's hard to see it. But the point is that it's a simple concept. What are the few key simple things that make your business tick? Nike, one example is they make an expensive shoe. They get contracts with high-profile celebrity athletes. This shoe sells out at a high amount of money. The price then drops, and they do it again. So what are the things in your business that do that? And so for me, Biba, that's really what we're doing. I use Asana, but there's a lot of task management tools you can use. I use that very much with my team, and we're disciplined to use it as a tool to keep us on track, to go forward. And I'm doing as best I can to figure out who is doing the right thing that they excel at for the betterment of the company. That's what we're looking at.
Cool. That's a great advice for the new year.
Thank you.
And just a last question, what was the best advice you ever received?
I received so much good advice, Biba. The best advice, I probably slow down. That was probably, I rush a lot, Biba. And when you rush, you don't do things as best as you can. So I think slowing down was the best thing. Okay, cool.
So can you show us your book once again? Because I want to make sure that... Yeah, of course we have to. I like to show good resources of the Celebrity CEO. And I see that, first of all, your cover is red. My cover is red. There's a picture on it. My picture is on my book. So, and we didn't even talk while we were doing our book. So I encourage, and I will put the link underneath for people to check your book if they want. And if there's like last one thing you would like to say to people.
Sure. Yeah, I think don't let perfection hold you back. Oftentimes people, I'm waiting. If you wait, as Seth Godin says again, a friend of mine, mentor of mine from a distance, you'll never launch. You'll never start. So don't let perfection stop you.
Like I said to people, start with who you are, what you know, and then you just improve.
That's right. It's the only way to do it.
Okay. So thank you very much, Ray. It was really a pleasure to have you on my show. I wouldn't even imagine 17 years ago that, first of all, we would have video show. And then you would be on my show. So thank you very much. And for everybody who's watching, so make sure that you check Ramon as RamonRay.com and you see what he's doing, because he's doing a lot of things, a lot of events. He'll watch his show also. Is it a weekly show also? Or?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, pretty much. And then I want you, once again, I really want with this show to bring you experts that will bring you strategies, but the same. It depends on what you know, but what is important is not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. So if you watch every show, my show or somebody else's show, and they say, okay, that was great, I like what the person said, but you don't do anything with that, it won't change anything to your business. So make sure that at least you implement one strategy from what you learned today, whether it's about the book, it's about how to adapt your business or whatever, and to make sure that you have a very good one year in 2021, probably better than 20, and then make sure that you keep your business, because that's the most important thing, because with your business, you have all of your family coming with you, and you have no, like I always say, make sure that you, how it's a word in English, to have your financial, be independently financial, don't have to wait for the government, don't have to wait for this, don't have to wait for that. Create your own economy. That's what I right. Create your own economy, which means whatever happened, whether it's the COVID, it's something else, you become sick from something different from the COVID, or you want to leave for 3 months of vacation, when we will be able to go on vacation again. But when you want to leave to whatever you do with your business, because your business allow you to do that, and allow you to have enough money in order to realize all of your dreams. Actually, my book is called MDR, which in French means LOL, but that's a joke because it's LOL, and for me, it's a formula to succeed for everything in life. And for me, MDR means motivation plus determination equal the realization of all of your dreams or goals. So make sure that you become MDR. When I will have the book in English, I will be able to show the book in English.
Yes.
But, and it's really a movement that I want to create, the MDR movement, to make sure that we have more people who are positive thinking, more the best mindset. And even if a period like this one, just to know that, yes, still, if you have dreams, you can realize your dreams. So thank you, Raymon Ray, and it was great to have you. And for everybody else, I see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.